Hello, everybody. We are back here at Sports Mecca. My name is Mac Morey, and I'm here with Lawson Smith. What's going on, Lawson?
Hockey. That's what we're talking about.
Heck yeah, that is what we're going to talk about. We are going to be going over to the ice and discussing some hockey. Lawson, you sound ecstatic about it.
Hockey's my favorite sport.
This is going to be fun. Lawson, let's discuss a little bit of the Nashville Predators first. What's been going on with this team? I know they made a couple big trade acquisitions recently, so tell me about that.
Well, first off, they started by trading a second-round pick to the New Jersey Devils for Brian Boyle, and he's a big guy, 6'6". He's great on the power play. He's what they needed since they're the worst in the league in power play percentage, and he's already gotten them a couple goals. So that's what they really needed, and he's got 17 goals on the season, so he's what they need for depth scoring going into the playoffs. And then the second trade they made was for Cody McLeod, where they traded a seventh-round pick for the New York Rangers, and he's already gone on to injured reserve because 6 games in, he's already gone. That's a tough loss for them. They needed that physicality because they were planning on loading up for the Jets because that's who they planned on playing in the second round. And they lost them, and that's a tough loss for them. The third trade they made was a 1-for-1. They traded Kevin Fiala to the Minnesota Wild for Mikael Granlund. And it's kind of a weird trade.
I mean, Fiala was a very important player for that team.
Yeah, but this year he had dipped in production, and it's not what they were really looking, and they decided to go for a guy who could get more goals for them because Granlund already has 16 goals on the season, and he already added another 2 nights ago against the Hurricanes, and that's exactly what they needed, is more scoring. And then the third trade that they made, or the last trade that they made, was Wayne Simmons, who is a big guy. He's not as tough as he used to be back in Philadelphia. He's had some wear and tear, but he's already gotten an assist in 5 games with them. So that's the type of physicality and the type of mentality they need to have is toughness if they're going to beat the Winnipeg Jets in the playoffs this year.
That absolutely is true. And you know, you mentioned a little bit of injury. What are some of the injuries that the Preds have struggled with? Because I know that's been a problem.
Yeah, the Preds have lost multiple players due to injuries, including Victor Arvidsson, Philip Forsberg. Most of their top guys, PK Subban was on injured reserve for a lot of the season, and they've struggled because of that, because they haven't had most of their players, and it's been tough for them to adjust, and they've had to call many players up from Milwaukee to fill in those roles. And it's difficult for them because now they have their players back, but they're not into the groove, and it's difficult for them, and they need to find that before they can go into the playoffs.
I mean, the season's winding down as we speak. The playoffs are nearing
a month
away now for the NHL. So what is, you know, we talk about physicality, we talk about those things, but they're last in the power play, as you mentioned. Offensively, they've been struggling for a latter part of the season. What's something that the Preds can do to maybe switch that up?
Usually what Laviolette does is switch up the lines, and hopefully he'll switch up some and get some chemistry with these players, because if they don't, they're not going to go far in the playoffs, and they're not going to beat Winnipeg.
Is this a team that still has a chance to make the Stanley Cup? I mean, I've heard a lot of, you know, people starting to hit the panic button about the Nashville Predators. Is a lot of that due to injury? Is there still hope for this Nashville squad?
They have not enough time, and they need to get their butt in gear if they're going to make it, because there's only 12 games left in the season for them, and most of them are away from home. So they need to get the magic going, or else they're not going to do anything in the playoffs.
It's not what Nashville Predators fans want to hear at all. The time is ticking down for them to become more productive. I look at another offensive team, though, in the other conference, in the Tampa Bay Lightning, and they are breaking records every other day. I mean,
they've already clinched the playoff spot, and there's a month left in the season.
It's insane. 3 players with 100-plus points in just 65 games into the season, the second team to ever do that. The Lightning have had 3 streaks of 8 or more wins, second behind the Oilers in the 80s when they had Wayne Gretzky. This is a Tampa Bay Lightning team that knows how to put the puck in the net. So
Boy, do they.
is this a team that is it a lock for the cup? I mean, is who could stop them?
The only team that can stop them is themselves, because they've had multiple years, the past few years, they've been playing and they've had amazing teams. And they got in their own way. I mean, last year against the Capitals, they choked. They had a 3-2 lead, and they didn't score a single goal in the final 2 games of the series. They pretty much shot themselves in the foot there. So the only reason they don't win the cup is themselves this year.
Well, then they've got a lot of pressure on them. Lawson, let's talk about a couple other teams. What are some teams maybe that a lot of people aren't really paying attention to, what we'd call a sleeper team? Maybe they're right on the brink of the playoffs and they could make a run.
Well, for me, I think the Arizona Coyotes, because the West is weak this season. The point differential to get into the playoffs is a very small margin. Most of the teams have around 75 points, and the Coyotes are only 1 point out of the playoffs this year. And they've had multiple injuries this season because bad luck. And they're getting guys back. Their goalie, Antti Ranta, who's usually really, really good when he's healthy, he came back, and he's been playing amazing hockey. And I really think that some teams will slip, and once they get all their players back from injured reserve, they can make the playoffs. That's my sleeper team this year.
The Arizona Coyotes. You heard it first here from Lawson Smith. That is all the time we have to talk about the NHL. Lawson, let's do this again, man. I love talking some hockey.
All right.
That'll be fun. We will be back with the Sports Mecca Top 10. Just you wait.
Welcome to Unwarranted. Here, you'll learn about actual real technology.
With three different teams, you can focus on what you want to work on.
We'll get you into tip-top shape to help exercise your comedic ability.
You'll learn handy skills and gain much-needed experience.
For example, you can focus on
Writing! Production!